chic European styling, 210mm of ground clearance, and lots of personalization options. This is the new Renault Captur, and Renault calls it a premium SUV with crossover DNA. What does it bring to the table? Where does it fit in? And does it deliver the goods to capture your imagination? Let's find out. Here's an interesting fact. Though the two may look identical, the Indian Captur is different from the one sold in Europe. The Indian Captur is built on Renault's hardy B0 platform that also underpins the Duster. But from the outside, it's almost impossible to tell the Duster and Captur share a platform. With its swooping lines, curves and soft angles, the Captur is very European in its aesthetics. The look is more crossover than butch SUV, but it has the requisite ingredients of big wheel arches and good ground clearance. The lighting package is of particular interest with funky C-shaped LED daytime running lights, full LED headlamps that have Audi-like swiping indicators, and there's also ripple effect tail lamps. A contrast roof is standard too, and don't the 17-inch alloy wheels look classy? Renault also gives the option to personalize the Captur's look with everything from chrome detailing to roof stickers. Speaking of size, it's marginally longer than a Duster, but more pertinently slots in right between the Hyundai Creta and Jeep Compass in length and width, though the Renault is lower. The Creta and Compass are the models the Captur will compete with. Moving into the cabin. Enter the Captur's cabin and you will like what you see, at least at first glance. The seats look nice and rich, they've got this quilted leather look and they are quite comfortable as well. The dashboard also has an interesting shape, and what's also nice is the butterfly look to the instruments. It's just that when you look a bit closer, you won't see it in as positive a light. For one, there are way too many legacy bits on the Captur's insides. For instance, the climate control buttons and switches, they come straight off a Duster. The infotainment screen, it's shared with all Renaults right from the quid above. And the roof lining, it just doesn't feel premium enough. Then there are the plastics. They're hard and scratchy all over and, well, aren't quite befitting a car of this class. Of the other things, the glove box is too small, the steering audio controls mounted on the steering column are hidden away from view, and some will even find the fixed front center armrest intrusive. Taller drivers will also find their seat position too high even at its lowest setting, giving the feeling they're looking down rather than at the road. And then there's the footwell that offers absolutely no space to rest your clutch foot. India is the first market in the world to get the fully loaded Captur Platine that gets a slightly jazzed up cabin. Aside from the premium leather seats, the cabins of Platine edition cars get gold detailing around the center console and aircon vents. As for features, there's auto headlights and wipers, cruise control, ambient lighting, auto climate control, rear AC vents, push button starts, and a card-like key fob. The 7-inch touchscreen isn't entirely slick, but offers navigation and also serves as a display for the reverse camera. Unfortunately, there's no Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. A sunroof is also absent. Time to switch focus to the back seat. Getting into the back seat of the Captur, you have to get your foot over the door sill, which is quite high. Once inside, you'll find that this is not the roomiest of cabins, but space is more than adequate. You can make the most of the available width because the seat is flat, so adjusting 3 people in the back shouldn't be a problem. The single-piece rear seat backrest can be folded back to make the most of the Captur's boot space. With all seats up, boot capacity is 392 litres, that is a substantial 83 litres less than what you get in the Duster. Also note, the Captur's spare wheel doesn't sit under the boot floor but is positioned under the body. Renault will launch the Captur with 2 engine options, both of which come from the Duster. There's a 106 HP 1.5 litre petrol that comes mated to a 5-speed manual gearbox, and a 110 HP 1.5 diesel that is allied with a 6-speed manual. Engine power is sent to the front wheels only. Renault hasn't given a timeline for launch of automatic or all-wheel drive versions of the Captur as yet. We had the 1.5-litre diesel Captur to test. I'll start with a word on refinement. When you start out, you will hear a clatter from the engine, but the noise level remains low. And when you do drive faster, the noise levels don't really go up that much. Engine noise is fairly well contained, and road noise is particularly well contained. Refinement is good, but what about performance? Spend some time in the Captur and you will also feel that this is a car that could have done with about 20 horsepower more. Performance isn't bad, but it's not exciting either. There's also a bit of lag under 2000 RPM, but once the engine does wake up, it's a strong show till about 4700 RPM or so. While the Captur's 1.5 engine doesn't have the go of the Compass's 170 HP 2.0 diesel, its healthy mid-range does mean highway overtakings aren't a problem in the least. The Captur's highway manners in general are very impressive. Straight line stability is really good, and even at triple-digit speeds, the Captur holds on gamely. It doesn't get affected by potholes taken at high speeds and maintains its composure at all times. In effect, you get a great sense of confidence at the wheel, and this makes for a very good highway cruiser. Sixth gear helps on the highway, but gear shifts do require a bit of a push, and the clutch is springy too. As for handling, while not sporty, the Captur feels confident in the bends as well. There's good weight at the steering, and the Captur turns in confidently and easily holds its line through a corner. The Captur makes do with a fairly simple front McPherson strut and rear torsion beam suspension layout, but ride quality is excellent. One of the highlights of the Captur to me has got to be its ride quality. Now that's something that Renault has got right in the past, and the B0 platform, which the Captur is built on, is known for its sturdiness, and it's just built for our conditions, and it's built to take a beating, and you can feel that. Now I'm on a rutted road and not much of the road shock is coming through into the cabin. The suspension is also working quietly, so you can find yourself driving a bit faster than you would on broken pieces of tarmac. The absence of all-wheel drive is a downer, but venture off-road and you'll be quite impressed with what the Captur can manage. It helps that there's hill start assist too. Of the other safety equipment, the Captur comes with ABS, front and side airbags, ESC, a handy speed limiter, and ISOFIX child seat mounts for the rear seats. In all, the Captur offers everything we like about the Duster in a more refined and attractive package. Sure, the cabin isn't quite as premium as we'd have liked, and there are no automatic or all-wheel drive versions for now, but there is still something very likeable about the European-mannered Captur. And we hear Renault will be aggressive with pricing too, with prices more in the vicinity of the top-spec Cretas than the Compass. Only time will tell if the Captur can make as big a splash in India as the Duster once did.
इसी कभी न रुकने वाले जुनून को रफ्तार देता है सर्वो वर्ल्ड क्लास लुब्रिकेंट्स।